All right, hello. Mm. The first word getting out is always difficult. Thinking of all the I don't know what I'm thinking. Just feeling all of the signals that say, mm, I guess freeze up or fix what you've already said. To fix and explain what you've said or my long pauses that I've made thus far. Kind of like if I were to freeze on stage as a kid or whatever, it'd be like me anticipating someone coming up and going, that's enough time, like, let's pull you off stage, let's end the tension. And yeah, my mind's going through a battle of like, what do I explain to the audience? What do I not explain to show myself not that I don't need to, or and there's just a feels like there's a lot of pressure to get it right, to meet what other people want me to do or stop doing, or that yeah, I feel a lot of embarrassment for showing up anxious again. And yeah, I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what to say to make it better. I'm definitely getting voices in my head of going, don't post this one. But why? I guess the argument would be that, like, the internet's not safe people. That, I can share that with my family or close people to me, but not on a video. So that voice is like, so there's a part of me that thinks that those voices are right, and then there's a part of me that's like, I really don't. And I don't care. It's been difficult making these videos and then going out in public or whatever and thinking, I wonder who's seen my videos, like in my community, posting them to Facebook and social media. And you never know who watches with the internet. You never know what people know or see about you. And yeah, that was bringing up more stuff, more, you know, more anxiety and more feelings of shame or whatever that yeah, I feel like is good that it brings it up so I can work through it. Because it helps me see that I'm not being loving to myself in a certain way. That I'm not loving myself for not being able to articulate things here as well as I want to. I think a lot and have a lot of thoughts, and before making a video, you have lots of things that you think you're going to say, and I guess I've done this enough to know that it just goes out the window. And that's why I don't know, I kind of like making these videos where I just press start and jump on and have the anxiety rush through, and I feel good afterwards. I feel anxious and afraid at times, but I feel my soul feels good because I don't know, I chose to do something that I wanted to do in a way that I wanted to do it, and it feels like a good hard day's work. But for whatever reason, thoughts and ideas that I think would be good to share or would help me or just start coming through. And I think of I get afraid of people trying to fix me. Like, hey, Seth, we see you like struggling to collect your thoughts or whatever. Have you tried this? Like, here's some like brain help stuff, or here's stuff to help your anxiety, or here's what you need to do. And I've kind of, I guess in doing this, surrendered people to, they're allowed to try to fix me. It still triggers me, but I know a little bit. I know that it's just a trigger, and I know that it's working its way through and out. And Yeah. Yeah, definitely growing up, I learned a pattern of, I guess, hiding my negative emotions or flaws and weakness because it felt like it was always met with trying to fix. And, you know, I adopted that with how I treated myself. Um, always trying to, I guess, use scripture or use truth to get rid of my anxiety or my fear. There's plenty of people know that there's like 365 verses of do not worry in the Bible, and some people suggest like reading one a day, and I just never found that to cure the problem. And it's not that I think knowing more truth is bad, but it's just missing the holistic component of feeling through and processing the emotions and allowing those to be without really fear or judgment of experiencing those. Um, yeah, the only way that I'm doing this is because there's a part of me that doesn't judge that I have fear and anxiety, and then there's part of me that does. That is where when you do something out of your comfort zone, when you make a leap, when you do something different, a lot of times that's where you're just stirring up the fish tank, and it gets all murky. You're trying to clean it up, and everything rises to the surface, and all the insecurities and fears and stuff bubble up to where they're easily felt and seen. And I think for a long time I interpreted that as I've done something wrong, where if I did something and felt shame or embarrassment about it, then that means I shouldn't have done it. And all it was really meaning was it brought up something to be healed. It brought up something that was in me that needed to be loved and needed to be worked through and cared for. And that's how you build strength. That's how you help a kid who freezes on stage or does something and then feels embarrassed about it. Because if that's not possible, then the only choice you have is to avoid anything that might make you feel embarrassed. Interpreting that if I feel embarrassed, then that's proof that I shouldn't have done that. And yeah, that's where you have to create an egoic mask and protection to give you strength to do the things that you want to do, but it's still under that mask, that shame is not really resolved, and you're not really truly free. Today is July 5th. And I guess my question today is, do you feel free? I think July 4th, for those that are in America, symbolizes freedom. And I think it's a reminder to people like, I want to feel and live more free. And, then that day passes and you forget the goal to, feel and live more free. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more freedom. And how could me not making this video make me more free? Would me not making the video, would I be more free if people didn't see me? In my weakness? Would that make me more free? If I didn't upload this video with me kind of feeling embarrassed, feeling shame for starting off slow, not having anything to say, wasting people's time. Even though it's not a waste of time, because we pay for the internet. I actually don't pay for it, so my parents do. Something else to work through for those with shame is, do you still live with your parents, and how do you feel about that? I still feel some shame about it. Being almost 30. Being 30 this year. And being where I'm at. Being who I am. Don't show up to the world till you're ready. Right? That's the message. Don't make these videos till you're confident. Don't make the videos until you have something to say. I guess I don't really vibe with that. Feels kind of weird to use vibe. I don't ever say that. The young people that aren't turning 30 this year say that. I don't know who says that. Anyway. I feel like putting on this hat. So I'll take the thumbnail picture with the hat, and then I won't be wearing a hat. And you'll be wondering, when does he put on the hat? And it was at this moment I put on the hat. And yeah, I think that's kind of funny. I also saw the deer again today and yesterday. There's a deer. I live in a subdivision in Georgia where hunting is um, common, so deer are very afraid to be around. So it's a rare sight to see deer. Um, more rare, and they're more skittish. So to see them in the middle of the day, I guess that deer is feeling the freedom from July 4th, running around my yard. So I could stop the recording here as I don't have anything to say, but I kind of feel like pausing and letting maybe something else come through. I guess I kind of feel like something else is coming through, but it was funny how when I was back at the big one and went on stage, I went up with Dr. Kim and had this cathartic release on stage in front of everybody, and that was really cool. And I kept sitting there, and something else came up, and I shared about just embarrassment that I felt with I guess talking about, like, I like women and I like girls, and I like to talk to them and look at them in the eyes and make them feel something. And I felt shame about doing that, or just uncomfortability, or really it's just the fear of, like, other people thinking I'm doing something wrong by expressing, like, a compliment or asking a girl out or whatever in front of other people and stuff like that. So I wanted to get over a little bit of that fear. So I talked about it on stage, and it was kind of like I don't know. There's like that pause, and then it's like, oh, there's more, and it was wild how there's a. It ended up being this whole, like, second half to me being on stage where a woman that I had complimented the day before was there at the event, and she ended up coming up on stage, and Kim helped me help both of us through, like, I guess some of that shame and embarrassment, and having a beautiful woman there. And I don't know, you'd have to see it because it feels funny to explain, or it feels hard to explain, but I wasn't expecting any of that to happen, and it was just kind of like me following another gut instinct, and it was cool. It was cool. She had mentioned something about her struggling to see her beauty, and how when I came up to her the day before and complimented her, like, it impacted her, and she wrote about it in her journal, and the whole deal with, like, her coming up on stage, and it was just like, I don't know, that was a point in me learning, like, it's not all up to me. Like, what happens and what God does, and the trajectory of your life and stuff is your choices. But then it's like, for what all unfolded, and I'm leaving out a lot of details, like how could I have like not complimented her? You know? It was like I felt like I made the choice, and in the moment I just kind of was talking to people and saw her, and just kind of my body just kind of moved, and you know, God gave me grace to like feel okay and comfortable enough and not so anxious to like to do that in that situation. But like it was almost like how could that have like not happened, for all the like ways that it meshed together to help her and impact a lot of people at the event, and happen at the same time as my grandfather's funeral, and what it took for me to get there. And like yeah, I was hearing a thing today from Aaron Abke that you're not operating in this life alone, and a lot of the choices and things that you do are it's not just you, and I think that can bring relief to everything being fine and perfect, and God is brilliant enough to work all things for good. And yeah, whenever I complimented the woman the day before going on stage, like there was a guy next to her. I didn't know if that was her husband or boyfriend or whatever, and I said hi and met her, and I don't know, I kind of just didn't linger too long. Felt a little uncomfortable, and just kind of like just got out of the conversation and went on, and that was enough. you know just times I criticize myself for not being braver, and you know staying in the conversation till I want to leave or whatever, or saying hey to the guy next to her, and making showing my social comfortability. And but God used it beautifully, and yeah, is using the flawed you today, the you that hates your choices, that are how you acted or came across or said something embarrassing, and is angry at the outcome that came out of it. And I was feeling that way yesterday with just a situation where I was triggered up and feeling anger for where I was, how I came across. I had complimented a woman that I had met before, and it just felt like like I was real nervous and anxious, and kind of like had premeditated what I was going to say, and it was just an ordeal that triggered up a lot of like shame in how I came across, or how it was perceived, and how I didn't want to lose whatever perception, some great perception that I felt like I hadn't lost yet. I hadn't shown that I have an ego and I'm sinful and act in the flesh and am scared and, you know, show the ugliness of like, I just don't feel that confident. So that triggered up in me like, just some anger. I wanted to be further along. I didn't want to show up in that way. I wanted to be better than what I was. And I don't know, that was fine. It showed me those patterns of shame and beliefs I had in my in me that are, ready to work out. It doesn't mean what I did was I shouldn't have done. I shouldn't have shown up. Shouldn't have done anything if I showed up in my shame or whatever, because it made them feel uncomfortable, or I felt uncomfortable and couldn't fix that for the awkward situation. So I still feel like I have more of that to work through, and I'm sure I'll have different moments and I have my doubts. I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is not some situation that God's just gonna, heal me through and make everything just as good as it was. But that would be the belief that, like, I'm lacking. If I embarrass myself, I've lost something that can't be redeemed. And is that the way that God's going to treat Christ? I guess the argument would be like, well, Christ did everything perfect, so... But... yeah, I have full access to God because of Christ doing it perfect. And so I guess this video is not for anyone who doesn't have any shame or doesn't feel embarrassed about anything and doesn't struggle with fear and anxiety, but it's for those that do. And yeah, if you do and ever want to talk, I'd love to. I would love to for you to reach out and see what happens. Alrighty.